Facebook's head of Libra, David Marcus, wrapping up 2 days of questioning on the Hill. Marcus facing the House Financial Services Committee today, answering questions regarding the social media giant's cryptocurrency efforts. Let's bring in Dante Disparte, head of policy and communications at the Libra Association, which is the independent group behind the cryptocurrency. Dante, thanks for joining us today. You make the argument that Libra is a tool for financial empowerment and not a threat. Based on what we heard from lawmakers and their grilling of Marcus on the Hill the last 2 days, why is that the case? How do you make that case?
Well, at one level, you have to think about the financial networks of the world are very much in the same place that the telephone networks of the world might have been 50 years ago. And so the people who had great access and easy access to high-quality telephony were the ones that were born in the right zip code. And in so many ways, our financial networks globally have left a lot of people on the margins of finance. And so at some level, this is how we could extend the perimeter of finance without sacrificing financial oversight. Bear in mind, Libra is 1 month old tomorrow. And so in the course of 4 weeks, we have had an unprecedented 24 hours of conversations in Washington that will continue around the world and have made a big commitment to say that financial inclusion and financial oversight and regulatory oversight are not competing objectives, and that we aim to comply with those types of norms.
Dante, how do you convince lawmakers that Libra is not a threat, especially when it is Facebook that is really essentially spearheading this right now? And as we saw just in testimony today, the fact that this is a company that has already been plagued by privacy concerns, data concerns, there does seem to be a connotation attached to this.
Well, at one level, and I think this is really an important point of clarification, Libra, the association, initially has 28 founding members, including Facebook. Facebook has effectively put itself in a position, which I think is extraordinary for large technology companies, to effectively have the same power and privileges as social impact partners such as Kiva or Women's World Banking that are part of this effort as well. Number one. Number two, this is very much an open, transparent process to develop a technology that would serve the world and serve a very competitive ecosystem of financial solutions and responsible financial innovation. And then the final piece of the puzzle is the charter process that forms this association is also being done transparently. And one of the reasons we've announced so far in advance is to be able to incorporate the type of feedback we've received and incorporate the type of concerns that have been voiced over the last 2 days here in D.C.
Dante, let me just ask one question. Did you hear anything encouraging over the last 2 days in terms of the questions at all for the future of this potential currency?
Absolutely. And I think if you parse through a lot of the headlines, and I'm glad you asked that question, you've heard from Chairman Powell a lot of sentiments that are very consistent with the association and the goals of responsible financial innovation. You heard from Secretary Mnuchin, I think, a very similar sentiment, which we, of course, espouse and aim to adhere to. And I think on both the Senate hearing yesterday and the congressional hearing today, you've heard a lot of very principled conversations about what it means to be innovative. And so behind that, what underpins that is exactly the spirit we're espousing with this effort. And that I found today really a lot of alignment and candidly a lot of really important questions that should be asked, have been asked, and will be answered to the best of our abilities to ensure that when Libra goes live, it conforms with the prevailing norms for these issues.